And you are Iranian.
Yes.
Iran. I'm Irani.
More often than not, you will see proponents of Palestinianism hate on Iranians for simply desiring freedom from Islamic occupation. Why is it that the Lebanese or Iraqi Hezbollah Shiites are such staunch Islamic regime supporters? Why is it that the Arab Islamists from Gaza and Judea and Samaria will proudly wave the IRGC flag alongside the Palestinian flag? Not to mention the rest of the Muslim world. Surely the freedom of Iranians is separate to their cause, no? Surely their hostility is just a coincidence, maybe? Or is it? Now, before I answer that question, let's have a look at this comment that was made about the executions in Iran last week. Here is one of them giving a love heart gesture before being hanged with a noose around his neck. If you are upset about political repression in Iran, again, you know where to go. Just don't expect us to fight your war for you. We are not morally responsible for what your people do to your people in your ancestral country. Now, upon first glance, you might intuitively assume that this kind of rhetoric comes from an isolationist, Australia only or America only type individual. And here's the part where I can explain how the woke left is exactly the same as the woke right. Because lo and behold, it's a pro-Palestinian saying this. Jay Kuriako, is that you, bro? Proudly marching alongside staunch IRGC and Hezbollah sympathisers at what's clearly a pro-IRGC march on the 22nd of June 2025 in the heart of Sydney CBD. Have a look at that, a Hezbollah flag. Except to bypass legal ramifications, it's Ned Kelly in substitution for the Hezbollah emblem. You jihadists of the 2020s are so creative and sneaky, aren't you? I'm sure patriotic Australians won't be too happy about having the iconic Ned Kelly being equated to Hezbollah. But okay, case in point, those who make such commentary acting as if they're Australia first, they're not. While simultaneously marching for the resistance, aka Intifada, aka Jihad, is the epitome of the woke right isolationist being no different to the woke left Marxist. All roads lead back to one thing and one thing only, being anti-Jew. And well, the Islamists feed off of both of them. It just all fits so nicely, doesn't it? So for Jay Kuriako and the likes of him, which there are many who comment all over my content, my answer is this. So long as you want to hold Iranians accountable for their own country, in order for your argument to hold any integrity, you need to adhere to one of the three following rules. 1. Whilst you're busy freeing Palestine, protest against any appeasement, deals or negotiations with the Islamic regime, demand all Western governments, including Australia, to cut all diplomatic ties with the Islamic regime occupying Iran, including the closure of the embassy in Canberra, deportation of all IRGC, Hezbollah and Islamic regime affiliates, freezing of all assets, closure of all Islamic institutions and sleeper cells linked to the regime on Australian soil, as well as protesting against all colonial Islamist militias being deployed within Iran that mass slaughter Iranians in the tens of thousands like they, Hezbollah, did in January. And of course, denounce in its entirety all Islamist networks, including Hamas, Hezbollah and the IRGC, because only then will the Iranian people be on an equal playing field to topple the Islamic regime on their own. And you would actually be Australia first, to which I would agree. Now, I obviously know you're not going to do this, so then you have option number 2. Simply have the decency to come out and publicly declare that you support the IRGC, you support Hezbollah, Hamas, and all the Intifada boys you fangirl for. Don't be scared. And option number 3, my preference. Stay in your own lane. Don't talk down to Iranians, stick to freeing Gaza. So back to my original question. Why is it that these same literal Islamo-Marxist pro-Palestinians are so obsessively hostile to Iranians? Let's dig into a little history. It was roughly around the 1970s that Yasser Arafat, the bloke who founded the idea of a Palestinian national identity to masquerade the desire to destroy an only Jewish state, he arrived at the conclusion that the only way to succeed in the pursuit of Palestinianism is to first infiltrate and subvert other nations ideologically, have them revolt against their own corresponding leaders so as to reciprocate the favor later on towards the Palestinian cause. And of course, one of his major quests was Iran. Iran under the Shah had good relations with Israel. In fact, Iran gave a safe haven to thousands of Polish Jews fleeing the Holocaust and was the second nation in the region to recognize the State of Israel in 1950. The Arabs hated that, and so Arafat had to break that up. Arafat grew influence over the years. He was bankrolled by the oil wealth of the Arabs, and every revolutionary he trained over time became an ally to destroy the State of Israel. In other words, the Palestinian cause was born to become the global scale hub for Islamo-Marxist revolutionaries. From 1970 through to 1979, Arafat recruited Islamist and Marxist militants from Lebanon, Iraq, Gaza, Judea and Samaria, and Iran to train them and consolidate the broader PLO across the Middle East and North Africa. Prominent clerical figures opposing the Shah in Iran, such as Mohammad Montazeri, were training in PLO camps in southern Lebanon that in due time went on to become the Party of Allah, Hezbollah. And by the way, these are the same figures who the big bad scary Sovok was imprisoning that they don't tell you about. This is what led to the armed guerrilla collaborations against the Shah of Iran, supplemented by Western traitors who facilitated Ayatollah Khomeini to topple the Shah. The Islamo-Marxists, trained by the very same PLO and the USSR, partook in the coup leading to the Islamic occupation of Iran in 1979. From 1979 onwards, Iran has been used as a launchpad to export the global-scale Islamic revolution via the IRGC and the Quds Force, Quds meaning Jerusalem, ergo making the Palestinian cause and eradicating the Jewish state a core tenet of their ultimate prophecy. So much so that the first foreign leader welcomed by Khomeini following the Islamo-Marxist coup was Arafat himself, in which Arafat proclaimed, "The road to Palestine runs through the Islamic Republic." In a nutshell, without the Islamic regime occupying Iran and without 90 million Iranians being used, abused, squandered and bled for, the entire Palestinian cause will go to shit. And that is exactly why these cultists hate Iranians for their self-determination in the same way they hate Jews for their self-determination. These schmucks need the Islamic regime to remain in power, to continue with their circus we see here in the West. Hence Qatar, Pakistan, Oman, Turkey, etc. stepping in to save the regime's ass every single time. For Khomeini and the Islamist network, Palestine was a global Islamic cause. For Arafat and the Marxists, Palestine was a national pan-Arab socialist cause. For the Nazis, Palestine was an ethno-national cause to rid of the Jews from Europe. And surprise, surprise, the exact same rule applies today. Figured it out yet? Here's a clip of Hassan Nasrallah in 1980 declaring that Hezbollah is a means of expanding that the global Islamic revolution encompassing and beginning with the occupation of Lebanon and Iran.
أن نتبنى غيره كوننا مؤمنين عقائديين هو مشروع الدولة الإسلامية وحكم الإسلام وأن يكون لبنان ليس جمهورية إسلامية واحدة وإنما جزء من الجمهورية الإسلامية الكبرى التي يحكمها صاحب الزمان ونائبه بالحق الولي الفقيه الإمام الخميني.
Fast forward to today, following decades of proxy expansion using Iraq and Syria as a conduit to export their revolution, alongside Islamic sleeper cells embedded all throughout the West, the Islamic regime continues to squander Iran and Iranians to feed the Arab, Afghan and Pakistani Islamists to maintain their status. Yet Iranians don't even have access to bomb shelters, whilst the clergy hide in their metropolitan-scale tunnel network and they use schools and hospitals for IRGC bases and force their children to go to school and become martyrs. Yet I'm told that Israel is my enemy. Just a few recent examples for you. Following the 2023 October 7th attack, the Islamic regime has been funneling hundreds of millions of dollars to Hamas and Hezbollah to rebuild their terror network. Lebanese families received between $12,000 to $14,000 per household to over 230,000 Lebanese families. Iranians, nothing. And this cash and infrastructure flow has been ongoing since the 70s. There's a reason why we call them the anti-Iranian Islamic regime occupying Iran. Now I ask again, why do you think all these Arab Islamists, the woke left and today's woke right demonstrate their hostility toward the Iranian people who simply want the same freedoms that you have? Hint, they fear a free Iran. And the entire Palestine cause is the reason why. Everywhere Palestinianism goes, chaos will ensue. And just in case you still don't believe me, just listen to Sadiq Zibakalam, one of the most active Islamo-Marxist revolutionaries against the Shah of Iran at the time.
To answer your question as to who guided us for our tactic, it was, as far as I know, it was after a sitting that we had in Germany, and there were some Arab extremists who later on we found that they had links with Habash and some other Palestinian extremist group.